Hello guys, this is Megaga of 1702, and in this video I want to talk about what people mean when they say something is distorted or it sounds clipping, it tears my ears apart, it hurts when I listen to it. Now, this is all part of the so-called loudness war that came from the music industry to us, and in order to explain that I'm gonna show you the music industry example.
This is how the so-called loudness war is damaging the sound quality of
Just listen. Take a look at this and listen.
modern CDs. First, I'll play an example of a track from 1989. Notice the clarity and punch of the drums. Since the two drum hits are already maximum volume, if we want the track louder on the recording, we have to take the quieter bits and turn them up. If this track had been released in 2006, someone would probably have insisted that it be this loud. Now it sounds much louder, and in the short term, louder can seem better. But you own the volume knob, not the record producer, so you adjust your volume to find your preferred level. Here we have the same volume as the original. Unfortunately, the loudness treatment permanently changes the sound. Do you notice what's missing? The red sections mark where the punch and clarity would have been. Let's hear what that maximized track sounds like at regular listening volume. Wimpy loud sound. All the punch of the drums is gone, along with much of the feel of the music that comes from some parts being louder than others. When there's no quiet, there can be no loud. The original makes you turn up your volume, and when you do, it sounds great.
Alright, this was a little excerpt on loudness war in the music industry. Now, I find it very important that he said, without quiet, there is no loud, okay? Because if you look at this sample, it's already been distorted, it's already pretty much at maximum volume. It, in my opinion, should not be pushed a little bit higher in order to get punchier. This is a sample I made, and I just wanted to see for experimental reasons how loud I can push it without it sounding like complete utter garbage. And this is as loud as I think it should be pushed. Okay, now let's get back to the sample. In the game, actually in the whole industry, there's a couple of ways to get samples to be louder, and I want to talk about one that is most common, and that is limiting and then pushing up the volume. Okay, so what the people do is they make their sample, what is it? You see the two natural borders over here and over here. That's the stereo channel, left and right, okay? And these borders will get pushed down and down and down by the limiter. In my example, I'm going to push it down to minus 12 decibels. Okay? Take a listen at this first. So they take these borders and they push them down to, let's say, minus 12 decibels. Okay? You can already hear the distortion. Now what happens, I'm going to show you what it looks like. There we go. This has been the original sample. This is the limited sample. As you can see, the sound has been completely cut off in these parts. So the next step is obviously to make it loud again, so we have more overall volume. But in my opinion, it sounds like shit. I have also maximized the volume over here as an effect. So take a listen at this and decide for yourself what sounds better. Well, in my opinion, the clean track without the additional limiting and maximizing sounds a ton better. Why? Because in the beginning of the shot there's a definition, there's a clear punch. Also, you can hear the receiver of the weapon snap back as it grabs the new bullet and pushes it into the oh, there's my English problems, you know. The receiver snapping. Take a listen to it. You hear the pacha, pacha. I'm gonna slow it down for you. That sound right there. Pum-cha, pum-cha. Okay. Now, if we're gonna limit and maximize it, this is gonna be what's gonna be sound like. Jesus Christ, what it's gonna sound like. You lose the initial punch. You lose the detail of the little receiver snapping back. You lose a shit ton of detail, and I hate that. If we as audio guys will continue pushing our sound to the max, it's gonna sound like this. Completely fucked up, distorted, it has no definition, there's no beauty in it, no audio, nothing. Look at this. This is not sound, this is faking, this is like zeros and ones in a fucking computer. And we as audio guys are better than that, okay? If we want something loud, we can just turn something else down. I'm gonna show you that right now. It's gonna be loud, so okay. If you turn something else down, you can have something else loud. You don't need to do this. If you have all the control over a game sound, if you can control the vehicles, explosions, the bullets passing by, impacts, everything, then you can control that. You have the control you need in order to not make everything fucking loud. It destroys your sounds. It happened to Metallica. Take a listen to this one. Metallica released a new album and their mastering, or better say their label manager said, we're gonna make it as loud as possible because we think that louder is better. And yes, well, there's a funny story actually about a mastering engineer who got a new set of preamps. Preamp is basically a little amp that goes between your mixing computer tool and your speakers, and he had an old one that he used and a new one that he just got. So he compared the sounds. He put the sound through the one and then to the other preamp, and the new one just sounded better. It sounded like, man, it sounded amazing. It sounded like it's warmer, the music is it's better, it's fuller, it's more powerful, it's amazing, I love it. And he just went crazy about that until he ran some technical tests and he found out that the new preamp was misaligned, misconfigured, it has been wrongly calibrated, and it was half a decibel louder than his old preamp. Half a decibel, and that actually make the shit sound better. Because we as humans think that louder is better. It's a psychological fucking thing in our head, okay? So, we as audio guys have to be aware of that, and we have to control that shit. We have to say, okay, this is loud enough. We don't need to push any further, okay? This is enough. Enough is enough, motherfucker. And, yeah, we don't need to push if there's no loud, if not quite there's no loud. And a human ear notices louder things more than it notices when things go quiet. So in a song or in a sound, you could have something be a decibel louder, and the human ear is going to be, oh, there's something louder over there. I'm gonna notice that. But if you have something that goes quieter over time, like over 10 or 20 seconds, minus 3 decibels, you're not gonna notice that. You're only gonna notice it once something else pumps in and fills out all that headroom that has been created by something else being turned down. So in my opinion, if you want good sound, you have to use clean samples, not that distorted shit that even I did just for experimental reasons, I say again. And you have to turn something else down. It's complicated, but for the sake of audio and listeners, we have to do this. Now, as a last part of here, I wanna quickly show you a video of Metallica Death Magnetic, how their manager fucked up the CD. Okay, there's two versions of the album. There's the album that they sold on CD, and there's the version that the Guitar Hero guys remastered themselves, and it sounds way better. Why? Because there's dynamic range. This here is a dynamic meter. It measures the range between the loudest and the quietest part of the song over time, usually a couple of milliseconds, 5 to 10 milliseconds. And it's good to have a big dynamic range, not this squashed shit over here. It's good to have a good dynamic range because then things just sound more natural. By the way, there's two measures of loud. There's amplitude, which is the highest point of a wave, and there's like loudness over time, RMS level. And what you have to be aware of is that, like in that Loudness War video over here, these two punches, they look really loud, but they're not, because the human ear has a response time and it does not get damaged by a couple of these things popping up in the song. It actually sounds exciting and awesome. Okay, let's listen back to the Metallica crap shit CD. It's crazy how the snare drum just got crapped. Alright, guys, this has been it. My little opinion on distortion and limiting. Just listen for yourself, for fuck's sake. You cannot tell me that the distorted synth sounds better to you. Because what happens is, like, you have this one, and it sounds fine, but then you have this one, and you go like, oh fuck no, I'm gonna turn that shit down, that's way too loud. Okay, over here feels comfortable, this is comfortable. But compare the two samples now. Oh, sorry. Okay, the loud sample lost a shit ton of detail, and in my opinion, I'm pissed at myself at listening to this garbage. That's it. Don't maximize your freaking samples. Don't do it. Don't do it. Megagoth 1702 out.